How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for coming out here. Can we please just have another round of applause for all these amazing speakers who have come on before me? I feel super inspired by your stories, so it's such an honor to be here. I want to tell my story that happened in 2018. Get a little nervous. I get this phone call from a number that I wasn't too familiar with. I wasn't even going to answer it because I was driving. I was just on my way to the gym, pulling to the gym, and excited to work out. Got this phone call, and I pick up. It's this person that I just talk to once in a while, just a normal buddy, and he says, I just want you to know, I'm about to take my own life. And in that moment, I forgot about all the training I had about, peer support, medical safety, 911, all of that. I just said, stay right there. Where are you? I'm coming. And he told me where I was. He was at home. So I turned my car around. Pretty sure I broke some laws for how fast I was going. Went to his apartment, and I walked upstairs. It was on the 3rd floor of brownstone building on the East Coast. It was really dingy. I walk in there. The door was open, by the way. And it was like boxes everywhere, papers on the floor, just things everywhere. It looks like he was packing, getting ready to move. And I walk into the living room and see this tall man, this 6'4", lanky, big, strong, tall man sitting on the couch with one bottle of Jack Daniel in his one hand and a gun on his right hand, a shotgun. And he just sat there, slumped over, just staring into the space. And I was really scared. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. I don't have the trainings for it. And I just tiptoed, carefully walked over, sat next to him, and I just put my hand on his shoulder, and he just started sobbing. Just started sobbing quietly, and then within a minute, it became this really explosive, ugly cry. Just all these grief and sadness and shame and things came out, just like snots everywhere. And I didn't know what to say. I was so scared. I didn't know what he would do, so I just kind of comforted him on his shoulder. And he leaned his head on my lap. I remember this. He's spread across sideways because he's really tall. And he started sobbing, just ugly crying in my lap. And I carefully grabbed the gun out of his hand. And I threw it across the room. Oh, I feel that in my stomach. Later on, when he was able to calm down a bit, I asked him what happened. He was in the process of getting his things together so he can move to another location. But as he was going through his things, he saw a photograph that triggered a terrible response in him. He saw a photograph of a family member who did something really inappropriate to him when he was 9 years old and scarred him for life. And just by looking at that photograph, it took him back to a memory where he never wanted to share, never wanted to talk about. And the next thing you know, he started drinking. He started just going down this dark path. And he picked up his phone and saw that I was one of the last person he texted. So he just randomly called me. He doesn't have any family member in the area. Just randomly called me, wanted to just say goodbye to the world. And he was also very drunk. Um, when he told me that story, it took me a bit back to my memory lane too, because he doesn't know, and very few people in this world knows. I have had a traumatic experience in basic training. Where it sent me into years of therapy afterwards. Somebody did something really inappropriate to me, but I have to see this person next day, salute to them, and pretend like nothing happened. And because of that, I bottle up all of my emotions because that's what I'm really good at. And for the next 10 years, I poured all my energy into working and never brought up a word about what happened. Not throughout 450 days of deployment to Iraq, not for the next 4.5 years of college, not through 10 years of yoga teaching, like none of that. It was about 10 years later, I finally opened up to my therapist and said, we should talk about this. And then it took me 10 more years to tell my mom. And that was really difficult. I'm sharing this because when this event happened to me, I didn't know what to take of it. So I did the natural thing, which is a very human response, e.g. human with very little training on how to respond to emotions, is that I sweep it under the rug and I just move on. And in the army, we have a saying, you just drink some water and move on. And you broke your foot, drink some water and move on. It's fine. And I learned to be just fine. I learned to be just move on, just go on about your day, not talk about it, it's fine. And that really affected my relationship. I had some opportunity to reflect it with the help of my therapists, my platoon of therapists, to really uncover what was underlying all these detachment, all these anger, all these feeling of shame, all these feeling of like not worthiness. And I had a lot of resentment towards my younger self. It's almost like, you did this. And I held on to that feeling for a very long time. But on that day, when I was sitting next to my friend, it's like it all came back to me, just like flooding back to me so quickly. I couldn't really explain it and put it into words until years later when I'm sitting in ceremony circles with veterans for our lovely ayahuasca retreats. I start get it, it's like this very fast download of like instant understanding. For me, it was like, oh, whatever happened to me was not in vain. It's meaningful. I just didn't know what does it mean. And now I know I'm able to hold space for someone. Like on that day, I didn't say anything inspiring to him. I didn't do anything. I just sat there. I learned that I can be very present. I learned that I could be very nurturing without having to fix someone, without having to change them or, entertain them in any kind of way. And that became my superpower. And that became something I'm able to use every day now that I'm in clinic with my patients, from overactive kids with ADHD to people in their 80s and 90s, fear of death, or cancer recovery patients, or pregnant moms, all kinds of people. And that became my gift, that I can just like listen, or I can just be present, just be with them without having to fix someone. Yeah, it makes me feel like life is constantly happening for us. I know I hear that quote a long time ago, and I sort of just like laughed at it. Like, what does that mean? But it really is. And I learned to humble myself and to be reminded that we're all a collective. Like we're little threads of this consciousness blanket. And I'm grateful. And that's my story. Thank you.